Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Over 20k strong. Appreciate every single one of you. This is Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We are a little bit light on the news today. And with Marcus Rashford's move being confirmed pretty much to Barcelona, with him being in the city and doing press conferences and stuff, we thought we would ask the ultimate question, which can be asked now, is, have we failed Marcus Rashford as a club? Or has Marcus Rashford failed Manchester United? So we're going to kick it off, Sam, with some stats, as I mentioned to you before. So kind of key career stats overall, how he did at United, because I think metrics are important, especially when it comes to attacking players, right? So he's made in total 388 appearances for Manchester United, scored 131 goals, assisted 61 times. You know the trophies that he's won whilst he's been here: FA Cup, League Cup, Europa League, and a Community Shield. So it's not a terrible career when you look at it in total. You could say, you know, there's been a lot more attacking or a lot more talented players who have won less and done less. So he's had an okay career at Manchester United. When we take a look at his peak form, what would you say is, who would you say the managers, or who the managers are, where he's played his best football?
Obviously, he got his debut under Van Gaal, didn't he, at Midtjylland. And sort of burst onto the scene. And after that, he was just in the first team ever since, wasn't he? Like, we never, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we saw him in the first team, did we, before that moment?
No.
I can't remember.
There was a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Which is why I got the opportunity.
But like, normally you see youth players come in, don't you? They have a game or something, and then maybe they go on loan, and you see him about. But there was nothing about him. It was like Tyler Fredrickson. Like, nobody heard anything about him, and he just starts. You're like, who the fuck's this kid? Obviously, like you said, with the injuries, he came in and he was just like, oh wow, this kid might have something. And apparently, he wasn't even ranked one of the best in his class at the time. Like, he wasn't sort of in the top sort of echelon of that. So it's interesting to see him come in. I think the most exciting and the most sort of where I enjoyed him most was under Ollie. That was my most enjoyable moments. Obviously, you had Paris, which was one of the most phenomenal nights ever, with the penalty and stuff, like balls of steel. Yeah. You had that sort of short-lived partnership of him, Mason Greenwood, and Anthony Martial, which was also fantastic. And then he did have his best goal-scoring run under Ten Hag. However, he did, like, he scored all those goals, didn't he? And then he sort of dropped off towards the end of the season. Like, just didn't really show up in matches other than when he'd score. Like, he just sort of didn't really affect the games, but he did break his goal scoring record. So in terms of stats, I would say the Ten Hag season. In terms of me physically watching him, it'd be under Ollie. That'd be my favourite.
I'm eager to know actually how everyone feels about that season when they reflect on it. Did it feel like that was under Ten Hag? Because as soon as you look at stats, everyone goes, well, yeah, that on paper, that's his best season. But I get what you're saying about Ollie, like the excitement, the transitional game. Like, not to say we didn't have exciting transitional moments under Ten Hag, Liverpool, the FA Cup being one of them. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know, there was something about Ollie being there, obviously being at United. It just felt like there was a bit more of a connection with Rashford playing. Now, 30 goals and 11 assists under Ten Hag is fucking ridiculous. Like, it is ridiculous for a player. And then not only that, I agree that he tailored off towards the end of the season, but there was games, big games as well, where he scored goals. So there was one against Liverpool. Arsenal was my personal favourite, where he nutmegged, was it Thomas Partey in the middle of the pitch?
Sent him to the shadow
realm.
Sent
him to Tesco, and then just absolutely bombed it in the back of the net. Like, that was one of my favourite goals. And then Barcelona as well, he scored at Nou Camp. Like, there was loads of big games that he played in.
There was a City game as well, wasn't there? There was the rocket. They absolutely sort of smashed it, and you thought, "Oh, we're going to win it." And then obviously it didn't work out. But he started well and put us on the front foot. So it's like I said, he had good. He scored a lot of goals, but like you said, he came in clutch and scored the goals at the right time. But for the most of the game, he was frustrating money. Like, he just didn't really affect things. But when you're a striker and you're scoring that many goals, people don't really mind. Like, if you're getting the goal, then people are all right with it. But if you're not doing anything and then you're not scoring, that's when people get kind of annoyed with it.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad you mentioned that City game actually, because that's what encapsulates Marcus Rashford as a player, like the ability to score that goal that he did, where it was a long ball, won it from the keeper, Bruno brought it down, flicked it off to Rashford, and he just fucking levered it,
smashed
barring
it.
in. Everyone was like, "What the fuck has just gone on there?" Like, wow, like so shocked. And then the second half, I think it was the situation with Walker where he's in behind and he just fumbles it and falls over, and you're like, how can you go from that to that?
Well, that's always been a Rashford fault, hasn't it? It's like when he's on it, he's unstoppable. He's one of the scariest players as a defender, I'm sure, to play against. Like you don't know what he's going to do. But when it's not going well, he looks terrible, doesn't he? Like everything goes wrong. Like his decision making, when to shoot, when not to shoot, take too much time on the ball. All of that just goes tits up completely, and that's the sort of unfortunate sort of nature of his game.
Yeah. You, under Ollie as well, the one that you referenced, I think that was the 2019-2020 season that everybody loved. And I think there was a few players as well, not only just Rashford. I'm pretty sure in that same season, people might correct me if I'm wrong, but Martial and Greenwood, all of them together got like 60 goals, didn't they?
Yeah.
And quite a few assists. Like they was just clicking and bagging. And I think he got 22 in that specifically. And he did that as well, by the way, with, I think he had a back injury, didn't he? Did like a fractured hairline or something in his back?
Yeah, and then we played him against Wolves, didn't we? And then he was completely fucked after that. Like, he was out for a while.
Yeah. I just feel like under all it was... When Rashford has got less time to think, he plays better.
On the instinct. I mean? On the instinct. When he's playing instinct, he's a lot better. But when he has to think about things, much like Rasmus Højlund, when Rasmus Højlund gets too much time, he just makes the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And Garnacho is, I suppose, falls into that sort of similar category as well.
Which is why now you look at Ruben Amorim's system, those inside 10 positions, receiving the ball quite a lot with your back to goal, which Rashford isn't really great at. Carrying the ball, which he's a winger naturally, so he can take on a player. But
you want it's a ball in behind, isn't it? He likes to run onto, he likes to run onto the ball.
Yeah, whereas like you watch something like Cunha against Man City where he picks it up on the half turn near the halfway line and just runs through 3 or 4 players. Rashford was absolutely criminal at times where he would get 2 players in front of him and you knew exactly what was going to happen. Yeah. He would run into it, get into blind alleys, they would call it, and it would go out of play. And that would happen so many times.
He'd run at him and then he'd just sort of run into them and lose the ball. Or he'd get it and he'd try and shoot and just hit straight into the player. Like he'd just snatch at the shot. And you just like, did you look up at all? Like see where players were? Did you have a scan around you before the ball comes over? Like it seems like a lot of our forwards aren't aware of what's going on. They just seem to want the ball and then their head just goes down, don't they? And they just run and they don't seem to sort of have a scat before the ball's coming over and look at their spatial awareness and like, right, where am I? Where's my teammates and stuff like that? That's what makes a world-class forward. Is knowing where you are, where your teammates are, and what you need to do if you receive the ball. Like Haaland does it consistently. He's very, very good at his space. He doesn't touch the ball hardly ever, but when he gets it, his awareness is spot on because he knows where the goal is. And if he's not in the best position to shoot, he'll lay it off to like Marmoush, De Bruyne, or whatever. If there's a thing, our forwards they're like, I get the ball, I have to score.
Yeah,
just me, nobody else. I have to score.
And it was almost like he was taking that burden on himself, wasn't it? It was almost like, because I've scored this many goals, they're expecting me to deliver now. So my sole focus is just when I get it, bang. And instinctive, that's what I'm saying, that's what he's good at. I think one player who's amazing at balancing that both is someone like Bukayo Saka.
Yes.
Like Bukayo Saka is, if you want him to take on a couple of players and do it individually, he can do it, but also his decision-making in the final third is as good as anyone I've seen in the Premier League. And that's why it works.
He's got a lot of assists, hasn't he, Saka? Like, he's got a ridiculous amount of assists for a guy who, in all effects, is a goal scorer. Like, the amount of assists he gets per season. And he's consistent as well. Like, every season, just consistently does it.
Yeah. But the little kind of bad qualities that we mentioned before, I think those were highlighted, especially under Ralf Rangnick. So under Ralf Rangnick, when he came in, 5 goals in 32 appearances. I mean, his confidence was just fucking completely shattered. He was... criticised heavily for his body language. Remember, at times on the pitch, he's just like
throwing his hands up and stuff,
whinging, and you're just like, oh. And then I think even in that season, he had a shoulder surgery as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. In pre-season, so that was something else.
Didn't he? Because he he was wanting to go to the Euros or something, or the World Cup or something. I can't remember what it was, wasn't he? And then he ended up not getting selected, and then he had the shoulder surgery, I think, because he was putting it off the entire season.
Yeah. Can I just say, sorry, people, I don't know why. I don't think it's happened on the screen. Has it? Are we okay?
What?
No. So on my monitor at the minute, it's like gone. I don't even know what the word is. Like a pearlescent colour. So everything's gone like a completely different colour, but it's not happened on YouTube, has it? It's not happened on the screen.
No, I'm looking at it, so yeah, it's fine.
So we're okay. I'll show you what you mean after the stream finishes, boy. It just looks a bit mad. Sorry, completely sidetracked there. And then you had the season, weirdly enough, after Rashford did put in such good metrics for Ten Hag in the 23-24 season, where his downfall was just like, it should be studied. Right? It's awful. 8 goals in all competitions. Extremely questionable, again, with similar things, overthinking things. There was reports of professionalism or bad professionalism. You had the Belfast situation. You had was it he turned up late to training before the Wolves game as well?
And he got dropped, didn't he? And ended up coming off the bench. But there was also the Belfast thing. He lied about it as well, didn't he? 'Cause he called in sick. And then when he came to training, Ten Hag asked him, have you been out? Oh, not Ten Hag. Was it Ten Hag or was it Amorim?
With the Belfast? Ten Hag.
Yeah. I was confusing myself. And he said, no, I'm sitting there. He said, no, I know you've been out and stuff like that. So he lied about it. And then I think he's lied about it under Amorim as well. As I'm sure he went out, didn't he? And he's lied to Amorim. And that's why he got dropped for the City game. There was after we got battered in the derby, he went out for it in the clubs with his birthday, didn't he? Celebrating and stuff, and people give him a lot of shit for that. So, yeah, he's not had a sort of nice time
Repeated
of it.
behaviour in it.
Yeah.
Which is something that we've said. The same thing with Sancho, the same thing with Garnacho, the same thing with a lot of forwards that we had. I feel like Rashford is a person who seems to get in his head way too much when he plays. Like, he overthinks things. He's very emotional. But I think to offer some perspective and balance to this as well, Sam, you can't, at times, you can't really blame him, the situation that he's in. A lot of people will throw the thing at him saying, oh, he's on 300 grand a week, he should be doing this, I don't care about this, and blah, blah, blah. But to be a kid who's come through the academy, grew up in Withington, then Withenshaw, around the Manchester area, is playing for his boyhood dream club that he loves, and to go through the turbulent times that he has under, I don't know how many managers he had, 6, 7? Something like that. I'm not making excuses for him, because I get he has been bad at times, but you look at that just from a balanced perspective, I think people have to think about that as well.
Yeah, like it's tricky when young players get massive fame, big money, and we've seen it not just in football; it happens in singers and movie stars and what have you. Like, it happens all the time. We've seen evidence of it. It tends to go to the head because they're just surrounded by people who tell them how great they are, how amazing they are, because they want a piece of that money or they want a piece of that limelight. And called hangers on, I think, in the sort of movie world. They have a bunch of people around them who you become their cash cow. So you just tell them what they want to hear rather than reality. And you become detached from reality, and you become detached from what you were. Like, he grew up on a council estate, much like me and you, single parent, much like me and you. So he had a certain perspective for the world. But once you start getting shit tons of money and just people surrounding you telling you you're amazing, that real world disappears. And then you start making decisions, or you start doing things that if you were the person you were before, you probably wouldn't do, and you probably wouldn't. You'd look at and go, that guy's a tit. But when you're in that thing, you don't really care, and you sort of lose perspective. And it's all well and good for us to say, oh, yeah, these things, but these things happen. Like, a lot of people get corrupted by money, influence, power, like those sorts of things. You see it all the time. Like, it happens all the time.
One thing I've never doubted with him is his love for the club. I think he does genuinely love the club, and I think he would do it. Even in his Barcelona presser today, he was asking him like anything to say about United. He was like, I've got no bad words. I hope they do well. Love the club and blah, blah, blah. Whereas when we talk about players like Jadon Sancho, there's no connection there to the club. No. He seems quite bitter, like very toxic on social media. I feel like Rashford's tried to get away from that as much. Now, he has twerked for the Barcelona move, which has been in the public eye, and he wanted to move there. Everyone's known about that. But in terms of internally damaging the club purposefully, like Garnacho done with the fucking Aston Villa post, I don't think he's done anything to that kind of extent or that level. So that's where it lies with me, where I'm kind of like, it's not as bad.
There was their interview with Henry Winter, though, which I think was a misguided attempt in terms of trying to put his side of the story out, which you can't say, like, especially when you're still part of the club. And obviously he wasn't having a good time and fans were getting on the back of him and stuff like that. And he mentions he wants a new challenge. That basically says to the fans, you don't want to be here. And fans don't take that well. Like, if a player goes, especially a guy from Manchester who's come through the academy, is young and he's a fan, to go, I don't want to be here, that pisses a lot of fans off, especially when we've just offered him a massive contract because of the season he's had. And that a lot of fans will just not take that well. And fair enough, I understand that. Like, I don't take it as personal as others, but I get why people would be annoyed with it, because people are connected to the club, people are emotionally invested in the club, especially with Mancunians. So I get it. And then there's been a lot of sort of media bias towards him on different sides of the coin as well. Like, some media bias has gone against him because he's a young black lad from Manchester who's got money and stuff like that, drives a flash car, wears jewelry, and they go against him. He's got tattoos and they go against him for that. And then Henry Winter, who obviously got the exclusive, now defends everything he says or everything he does, which is the other side of things. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of fuckery in the media, and you have to sort of wade through it and find where the actual sort of truth is, unfortunately.
But I think that's where it fits in with the whole kind of debate, because there's two sides to it, and I think there are both arguments. I don't think you can categorically say United failed him, Rashford failed him. I think there is a mixture of fuck-ups on both sides. Yeah. And I think about why the managers that got the best out of him, why did they get the best out of him? It felt more freedom, instinctive, good man management.
Counter-attack as well.
Counter-attacking, confidence. They are the environments that he seems to kind of thrive on. You look at a situation when Mourinho was there, for example, a lot of public criticism from the manager that was put out there. He was used as more of like a utility player at times, didn't really depend on him. Development slowed down. Very
rigid system, very pragmatic system rather than on the front foot system, like, which is not something that an attacker or forward of like his sort of caliber is going to do well in, like, at all. Similar, Ragnick is a lot of hard work. You have to put the graft in, you have to press, you have to like go. That's just not Rashford's game. Rashford is waiting on the sort of like offside trap for a ball to come through or ball over the top and running onto the end of it and going against defenders. He doesn't press. Like, he's not that sort of type of player. He can do it, but you just can see his heart's not in it. And that's why it didn't work under Ragnick either. It's too much. Everybody has to do it, otherwise it fails. Like the pregnant thing. You're not a little bit pregnant, you're either pregnant or you're not. And if Rashford's not doing it, then the whole thing falls apart. So
But you look at Mourinho's comments now, and he still stands strong today, don't they? From like, you see people pull him up all the time, and I remember him saying there are still players at that club that I didn't want. So obviously, and at the time when he said that, I think Martial and Rashford were still here, and they was the players he was alluding to. So
I imagine Shaw's on that list as well.
Shaw is definitely on that list, 100%. So yeah, there's two sides to it. He was overplayed a lot as well at a young age. I think that's something that we need to be careful with the likes of.
Played through injury as well.
Played through too many injuries. A lot.
Too many times.
Mismanaged as well by dodgy medical staff. How many times were we talking about, like, why is this guy playing with a broken back or a fucked ankle? Like,
why has he been past fit? If he's got a spinal like hairline fracture, why has he been past fit? Surely he would not be allowed to be past fit. And then look what happened. He played and he ended up completely fucked. That seems like negligence on my end. And I mean, Twanzabe's suing the former medical department, isn't he? Because he was a medical mismanagement. So he's clearly not alone. He's clearly not the only one.
There was a situation with Shaw as well when he came back for Luton under Eric Ten Hag, where he was like, "They shouldn't have brought me back," and that extended it even longer. So definitely question marks around that, 100%. And then the just the toxicity of the club from when Van Gaal up until now, like the changes and dips and different managers, and just like it's just you can't really put a strong foot on the ground, can you? Because it's and again, he's a part of that, and other players are a part of that, but. I mean, you look at a club like Liverpool who had Klopp for 8 years or 9 years or whatever it was. City, who had Pep Guardiola for fucking nearly 10 years now, nearly a decade of football. They've had a consistent manager there, system, fluid, everything from top to bottom has been perfect. Whereas United, all over the place, has just been a shambles. And sometimes players can become a scapegoat in those kind of scenarios.
there's also as well the players at Klopp and Guardiola. There's been changes and transfers and stuff. For the most part, they've been playing with the same people around them. They know who's with them. They know who's behind them. Stuff like that. Rashford had Shaw, but he was always out injured and stuff. Tellez came in, and Amrabat played there. Lindelof played there. Like loads of different people played behind him. So he didn't have a consistent partner either. The forward line was constantly changing. Like Martial was never fit. Cavani came in. Ronaldo came back. Like there was just all these different people. So he had never had any consistency in the team either, because we were just lurching. Like I said, lurching from one manager to another. He'd get his transfers in. He'd get sacked. Then we get more players in, and it just kept going back and forth. So he never had a consistent sort of performance. Like he was never. We saw the best of him when he was with Martial, Greenwood, and Shaw. That was his most consistent thing. That they were the players that understood him, understood his game, and he worked well with. When they weren't around, he tended to struggle quite a lot.
Yeah, it became very isolated. It reminded me a little bit of when England played in the Euros, when we had Trippier at left back and Foden was very isolated and couldn't really get much.
Yeah, because Trippier just kept coming inside, didn't he? Because he's not used to going out wide and he kept coming inside, so Foden's just left.
He needs an overlapping wing back. That's what he needs. And I think I was listening to, I can't remember who it was. It was, I think it's a journalist who works for Barcelona, but for the Athletic as well. And he was talking about, we'll talk about Barcelona's system in a minute, but they've got a wing back called Balde, who's a little bit like Nuno Mendes, who will just bomb up and down constantly. And he said he'll be perfect for Marcus Rashford, and he'll get and he'll give him this, allowing the space and time to operate. But just the last thing, when Marcus Rashford reflects on his career, how do you think he'll feel, Sam?
Opportunities missed. Like I think he could have become a United great, United. Maybe not legend, because we haven't won enough sort of massive trophies to sort of cement that status, but he could have been up there with an academy graduate who played for the club his entire life, put his heart and soul into it, tried his best through the most difficult period in the club, but stuck by it. I honestly thought he could one day become captain, because he was a Manchester lad. He came through the academy, he understood what the club was about. He'd been through hard times and stuff. I thought he would start to take, but he just never seemed to want it, did he? He never seemed to sort of take that step forward or take that step up and take things on his shoulders and lead the team. Like he seemed to shirk away from that sort of thing. And then outside responsibilities, and I was thinking of things that he's done outside the club. I think he's easily influenced by people around him. I think if he's got a bad crowd around him, he gets pulled into that sort of thing quite easily, like as we saw with the nightclubs and stuff like that. I think when he's surrounded by decent people or people who want the best for him and things like that, he's a lot better, and he gets it. Because we saw with the government thing, getting the school dinners, and the way I've seen him when he goes into the primary school that he used to go to see the kids and stuff, like you understand him. Like I like that side of Marcus Rashford.
Can I ask you though, do you think there's a part of that though that's a part
of his brand? There probably is.
You know what I mean?
But there is, I've like Jay Motty's told us he's done that without cameras before. Like he's gone without cameras, and the government thing as well. Like a lot of people protested it. A lot of people said shit, but he actually got them to change policy, which
I had no issue with that.
PR or not, that is an incredible feat. Like to get a government to U-turn on giving kids school dinners is a fantastic feat, and I think he should be commended for it. But again, when he's around other people, it affects his judgment, it affects his decision making and things like that. The club's also got to take responsibility, because he had one good season and then we offered him a ridiculous contract. And I will say a ridiculous contract of $325K a week, which never should have happened. That never should have happened. You can't reward a player for one good season. Like it was a good season, but you can't just go, oh yeah, here's a mega 5-year deal on a ridiculous wage that if you have any downturn in form, we can't shift you. That's ridiculous from the plan. And obviously that's Murta and Arnold and the Glazers and stuff like that. It's their fault. And I think United's got to take some responsibility, because he's not going to turn it down, is he? Like if somebody offers you that money, you're going to take it. So yeah, I think the club's got to take, because I think even if you won't admit it, I think certain players, when they get that amount of money, that hunger goes down a little bit, maybe like 1%, 2%. And then in Premier League football, that's everything. And I think only if you're like in your head, well-disciplined, like a Ronaldo, like Salah, like a De Bruyne, you don't let that affect you, because your game is the most important thing. Whereas other people, it seems to affect their game, or it seems to affect their concentration on it as well.
when you have an environment as well that's not looking after those kind of things, like it seems like they're trying to change that now, and you would hope in Cobby's situation that he seems like a different kind of personality to Rashford, but people can be very easily kind of swayed one way or another, and you would hope that that doesn't affect him and he develops, and you have that by having professional people around you. I'm sure back in the 90s, if they didn't have players like Steve Bruce around or Schmeichel or those kind of guys, some of the players, the more fiery players at United, like, you know, could have done a similar situation.
Fergie got rid of what he called the drinking culture. So there was a lot of players who were great players, but they were very heavy drinkers. So you think like Paul McGrath was one of them. Lee Sharp is another one. Just going out on the piss and getting completely fucked just all the time. And he was like, yes, we might fun, but how better could they be if they weren't doing this? So they were just like, he had to move them on. And a lot of people were upset about that. And a lot of people were annoyed. But obviously, he went on to do things and win things and brought in the right sort of players and things like that. And I think Amram's doing something, obviously not to that extent, but Amram's doing something similar. He's getting rid of the people who clearly have been a problem. Like you said, Jose has mentioned it. Ragnick's mentioned it. I'm sure if Ollie was allowed to would speak more openly and honestly, he'd probably mention it. I know he hinted at it on the overlap, but he didn't really.
I really like what he said about the asking players to play.
Yeah,
put your
exactly.
Like,
so I know he hinted at it, but he didn't name names, whereas Mourinho, we know exactly who he's talking about. So I think Amram's just got to the point where he's like, I'm not letting these players throw me under the bus. Like, I'm not having it. So he's like, I don't care who they are. I don't care how much they're on. Fucking get rid of him. Like, they have to go. And that's what he's done. A lot of people are like, yeah. And a lot of people, we've been saying it for years. You got to get rid of these players. And people are like, no, he's too good. Oh, no, he's going to come good on the right manager. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, he's not working. And he's infecting the team. Garnacho, he's infecting the team with the way he is and the outside influences. He has to go. Like, it wouldn't be tolerated under Fergie, and it shouldn't be tolerated now.
We have too many players with poor attitude. We have too many players who we can't rely on when we're having a tough season. Too many players who sometimes be arsy about pressing from the front, inconsistent effort, and focus more off the pitch rather than on football, what you should be looking at.
Complaining when they're asked to do a job on the pitch. Like Anthony was asked to go wing back and he's fucking bitching and moaning. Like, do you just do the fucking job that you've been asked to do? Like, we're not asking you to play there all season. We're asking you to play there for a set amount of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just like, you're getting paid a shit ton of money. Just fucking get on the pitch and do your job.
Before we speak about the Barcelona move, I'm just going to go through a couple of the comments. Charlie's saying, did anyone fail here? United gave him a too high contract and he just didn't bother anymore. In the end, United removed him, which is a win for the club, and Rashford got his dream move. Mark Palmer saying, used to love Rashford, but how he's blagged a move to Barca. Jay laughing at the Shadow Realm comment from you, Sam, which is funny. Wu saying, Rashford's a joke, lads. Never mind the Belfast one. There've been a lot we are bothered about on the pitch. He quits. Many games he quits. The Newcastle away game was just a massive FU to every fan. And we've got Nathan in the chat as well saying Rashford and his entourage are a circus. His brother is a clown and Rashford is a legend in his own mind. I do think he will look at this as kind of like, I'm a big regret in his life. Even when he's 60, 70, he will look at this and be like, why didn't it work out, man? Why couldn't we win? Well, he won stuff together, don't get me wrong. He won an FA Cup and stuff like that, but it could have been so much better. Like, it'll be looked at as a failed story, ultimately. But he's got a new story to write in Barcelona. He's got a loan move's been complete there. I think he's done his medical and everything. And I actually think, Sam, the style could potentially suit him in La Liga. I think you've got a chance here to kind of reset, play without pressure. Like, you'll have pressure of the Catalan fans and stuff, but just different to United pressure in it and the environment. And you got ideal for kind of counter-attacking scenarios. You've got the World Cup around the corner as well, so a fresh opportunity for him.
Yeah, and there's less, I know it's Barcelona, but there's less pressure on him because it's a team of stars like Rafinha, Yamal. Like, you just go through the team and it's just like
Players
full of stars.
Will deliver. Yeah.
And it's not all on him. Like, he's not looked at as like, oh, you're coming in to save this club. Like, you're the one who's going to change everything around. Like, he doesn't have that pressure on him. And it looks like, from what I've seen, he's going to be cover or like rotation for Rafinha. That's what he's going to be used as, which again is a little less pressure for him and things like that. He's in Barca, so he's away from the environment that he's been in for so long around Manchester and stuff like that. So he's not surrounded by those people or the sort of like attractions or the temptations that might be there. He's in a lovely city. And have you been to Barcelona?
No, never been.
It's amazing city. Make sure you go one day. It's
I do want to go.
amazing city.
Yeah.
Really gorgeous weather. There's good restaurants. There's like lots of interesting things to do. There's a beach. Like it's such a nice lifestyle. And obviously the history of the club of Barcelona, like you look back through the history, it's a one that rivals our own, I would say. Like there's not many clubs in the world that where you look at the history and the players that are playing and the things they've won compared to United, but Barcelona is definitely up there,
Right
one of them. So yeah, like it's an historic club. Like if you wanted to play for any club in the world, the three choices probably could have to United, Barca, and Madrid. Done it. That's probably the top three that you go. That's what I want to go play for, and yeah, he gets to play for Barcelona.
Yeah, I think if you look at Hansi Flick's setup as well, when I've watched them in the Champions League, they seem very direct. Seems to be a lot of pressing as well from the front to win it back quickly, which, again, it's don't really suit Rashford's game, but at Aston Villa, I felt like there was an intent there. It did feel like he was working hard and he was grafting for the team. Otherwise, Unai Emery wouldn't play you anyway. No. So he's up for it. He's willing. A lot of quick transitions, attacking overloads with the wing-back. We talked before about Balde on the left-hand side. But they're still kind of incorporating it a little bit as well with how old Barca used to play. So, keeping hold of the ball quite a lot, making the opposition work. I'm fascinated to see how he gets on. What was your gut tell you at the minute? Do you think he'll do well there?
I think he'll do well. I don't know if he'll be an absolute superstar and he'll tear it up and people will be like, oh my God, this player. But I think he'll do well. Like, I think he'll have some good moments and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm definitely more interested in watching some Barcelona games this season than I would have been otherwise.
I mean, to be fair, Sam, the Champions League games last season were fucking incredible with Barca, weren't they?
They were, with their attack, they were reckless to the point of like disregard at some points, weren't they? I cannot believe how they played at times. Like they were just like, oh, we've conceded 3, fuck it, we're just throwing everybody forward and we're going to try and score. And most of the time they did, and they won the game. Like it came short, unfortunately. Was it Inter knocked them out?
Yeah, those games against Inter Milan, both legs were fucking insane. Best games of the year last year.
Yeah, but that's what happens when nobody defends and everybody just attacks. Yeah, like this mental. Is what happens. So yeah, I think he'll do well, and I think Hansi Flick is a very good coach. It's weird how it didn't work out at Bayern Munich. I thought he would have sort of absolutely smashed it at Bayern, but just maybe I think it's the board. Maybe the board, they don't seem to get on with a lot of people, do they? Thomas Tuchel, Hansi Flick, like I think they fell out.
There's a lot of fuckery in there with finances. Yeah. That's why Nico Williams won't join, because he couldn't get a guarantee that, you're actually going to get registered. There's going to be a situation with Danny Olmo and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's going to take a bit of adapting. It is a new environment, but it seems like the confidence is very high at Barca at the minute, and rightfully so. They've got some of the most talented footballers you will ever see. And I mean, Lamal is just, for what he's doing at his age, it should be illegal, genuinely. Rafinha, him and Rafinha both Ballon d'Or contenders in my opinion. You've got Pedri, who's an incredible midfielder. You've got aged ones like Lewandowski, who still scored 25 goals last season, which is nuts.
You got obviously La Masia just producing talent every single year, like Kubiasi and different sort of players. Incredible and stuff. Players. Like they'll always have, like, again, similar to United, their academy is everything. Like,
the best, really. They produce the players that have come out of it.
Yeah, they produce so much talent, and a lot of them don't even end up at Barcelona. No. A lot of them end up elsewhere because they've just got so much. So they should be in such a far better position financially than they are. I don't know how they've done this. I really don't know how they've cocked it up. Like, it's unbelievable how much they've cocked it up.
They had that period, didn't they, where they spent 130 million on Ousmane Dembele. They spent 100 million on Griezmann, 140 on Coutinho. I think it was.
That was it. Yeah.
So you look at that.
None of them are still there.
None of them.
Single one.
And giving I think Griezmann was like 600 grand a week. I don't know who was in charge at that point. I can't remember the guy's name.
I hope they've been sacked. But
you look at them deals, how much they've murdered that club, to a point where they're selling TV rights for 25% for the next 25 years. Like, it's crazy. But they have a really top class coach. They have loads of young players to build for the future.
It's the history, isn't it? It's the history. Like, the history's the same with United.
Incredible club, Barcelona.
United, we are in the worst period of our history, but players like Cunha and Mbumo still wanted to come to us.
Yeah.
Because of the history. And the Barca will be the same. Like, a lot of us will say, why the fuck would you go to Barca? They don't know if you're going to pay or they don't know if you're going to register you. But because of the pull and the history and the city,
Yeah.
people are like, they still want to go. They still want to go.
I genuinely, if it was like, if I was a player and it was options on the line, it was like, do you want to go Barcelona or Madrid? It'd be Barcelona. Just because of the style, the way they played that team back in the day, like 09, around that kind of period with Busquets and Xavi and Iniesta and Messi, Lionel Messi. Like, I know Madrid have incredible history as well, don't get it twisted, but just for me personally, Barcelona has always been something about them that I just really, really love them as a club.
There's a lot of clubs who have got almost like a historic romanticism about them. And I think Barcelona's in there, like they this historic sort of like memories and stuff like that. United's another one. AC Milan, I think, would fit into that category as well. Just this history of like top class players winning European trophies and stuff like that. So Madrid feels, as much as the players are fantastic, it feels a bit corporate, doesn't it? There's a little bit corporate.
Yeah.
I know football is that anyway, but like Madrid, they just seem to, they've bought their way to success almost. That's what it feels like with Madrid.
Yeah, whereas Barca, they've created geniuses.
Yeah.
There's just no two ways about it.
Even Pep came from there. What was he coaching, their B team or something?
Cruyff, Pep.
Yeah.
You look at the names that are associated with, I mean, Mourinho learned at Barcelona as well.
Bobby Robson,
Yeah, the names that are just associated with that club. R9 played there, Lionel Messi. Like, they've had the best players around the planet. But with Rashford going there, I mean, they've got a lot of young players. I'm not saying, because the super talented, I'm not saying they can learn a two from him, but in terms of experiences and what Rashford's dealt with, there could be a bit of a sponge there for him as well. So I think that's probably why they're going for it. The last questions I wanted to ask, kind of quick fire, whatever you want to call it, on Marcus Rashford to Barcelona, and did we fail him or did Rashford fail us? Did we expect too much from a local lad?
I think too much pressure was put on him. I do think that. I think fans can't help expecting too much from the Manchester lad because you connect with him. Like he's from 3-4 miles up the road from me. Do you know what I mean? Like he's from this town that I grew up in. He's younger than me, but like he grew up in the town. He grew up on a council estate. He grew up with a single parent. Like everything I did, he grew up that way. So you have that connection and you want them to do well, and you just keep hoping that they're going to think. And when they do have like extreme talent, which he does have, the expectation tends to go up, doesn't it, a little bit? And I just think that's, sometimes it's not helpful, but I think the fans can't help it. Like, I just think as a fan, you can't help it. And it's just, that's the way football is. And when it works, it's the best feeling in the world, isn't it? Like when a Manchester lad comes good, it's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And we've been lucky to have a few of them. And you thought Rashford might be another one, but unfortunately, not today.
For me, it's no better feeling when you watched him score against Paris. When we knocked them out. When he scored in the Carabao Cup final as well against Newcastle. You had Kobbie Mainoo scored in the FA Cup final. Like those moments there, you're talking about like 50.
Paul Scholes scoring how many titles
against
for us?
Barcelona, ironically enough.
The only player that Barcelona said would get into their midfield. The only player in the world who they went, no, he would get in.
History, heritage again, isn't it?
Like Gary Neville, even on a lesser extent, Mancunian, from here. Ryan Giggs, I know he's technically Welsh, but he grew up in Salford. He's from Manchester and stuff. We've got history of it. So I think I think United fans connect to that when you get a Mancunian lad. And hopefully it doesn't happen to Kobbie, because he did have quite a poor season last season, but I'm hoping the pressure doesn't get piled on him this season. I hope he's allowed to sort of make his way and slowly integrate, because the kid's still 19. Like, he's not even in his 20s yet. So let's give the guy time, man.
Yeah, I think the scope on it, this is the worst thing for me when you look back, is just that he didn't become a legend, because there was definitely an opportunity there to become one. And the legend nowadays, the word legend gets chucked about on it quite a lot. I appreciate everything he's done. I think he's had some incredible moments at United, but that'll be one of his biggest regret. The final question, in your opinion, if you had to go for it, like balance it out, who is more to blame, Rashford or the club?
I would say Rashford, but I think the club aren't absolved the blame at all. Like, their club has got a lot to answer for. Like the way it's been run, the things that have happened, the management changes, the history, the contracts, all that stuff, they definitely have to take things. But when it comes down to it, showing up on the pitch and the things you do outside in your personal life, that's Rashford. That's his responsibility. And he, for the most part, didn't deliver or made the wrong mistakes or made the wrong decisions. So I think that has to come down to him. Hopefully he's learned, and hopefully he gets his head together and he absolutely smashes it at Barca and he has a great career. That'd be the best thing for him. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think it's like all of Rashford or all in the club. But I'd probably lean towards Rashford in this case.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I would go probably like 65-35 in terms of, who could have turned it around. The club definitely are at fault as well for everything that's gone on in the past kind of 8 years. But we're turning a new leaf now. He's turning a new leaf now. It's just mutually beneficial, isn't it, for both parties? I think. Like
sometimes it don't work. Sometimes you just have to part. Like you might love the club, and the club might love you, and the fans might love you, but it just doesn't work, and you have to part ways. Like it happens in relationships. Sometimes you're in a relationship and you both love each other, but you're both going in different directions in life. You want to travel, they want to stay and buy a house and stuff. And as much as you love each other, you might want to just be best to part ways. And that's the case here, unfortunately, man.
Yeah. Rashford's on his way down. Barca won't buy him and he'll end up in Saudi. All those Manc lads had certain values. They had families and worked hard. Rashford isn't that. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. I think he has some morals there, like Sam touched on before. Yeah. Single mother, growing up, poor, all those kind of things that we all experience. There is a connection there. Now, on the pitch, this question is definitely about not trying hard enough and not definitely 100%, and body language comes into that as well. But again, he'll have to deal with that, won't he, when he's finally finished his football career and he reflects on it and looks back and says, maybe I could have tried harder. Maybe I shouldn't have done this brand deal or done this and done that. You know what I mean?
Do you reckon Jadon Sancho will ever sort of click and turn around and go, what the fuck have I just wasted my entire career for? Like, how many years was he at Dortmund? 3, 2?
3, 2 or 3, I'd say.
That's his entire best part of his career. The rest of it has just been wasted, like completely wasted.
With him though, specifically, it seems like there's something in his head that he seems to think he's better. In his head.
But do you reckon he'll get when he retires? Do you reckon it'll have a click and go, oh, fuck's sake, I've just wasted?
I mean, it must do. You must watch that season back at Dortmund and just go, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What the fuck? What on earth did I do to have my career end up like this? He'll end up at, I don't know, fucking, no disrespect to any of the clubs in Italy, but like a Torino or something, being one of their better players. Yeah. It's a shame, innit? But look, you can lead the horse to water. You can't make them drink it, unfortunately. So, yeah, and we've had this has been an issue with plenty of our wingers, which is the main thing that we're trying to get rid of now. So,
but it's just always the winger as well, isn't it? It's always the winger.
Very, very
weird.
Get
it. I really don't get it.
I have no ill malice towards Marcus Rashford. I hope he does well. Beneficial for both for us, and let's see what happens with the move. I'm going to end the show there. Obviously, for any further updates or any further news, please do check us out on Instagram, X, and TikTok. They are all popping off at the minute. Just go have a look at them. You'll know what I'm saying. A lot of the clips, a lot of the news posts doing really, really well. So I appreciate all the support. Of course, as well, subscribers just gone past 20k recently. We're already on 20,348. So the subs are shooting up. The interactions are shooting up. And yeah, it's just nice to see. Really, really love it. Love the support. And we will continue to do this day in, day out because we love the club. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, cool. Right, see you later, everyone. Subscribe to the channel.